Yes, greetings to you all. Greetings to you all. Um, this is the live broadcast that was supposed to happen yesterday. Unfortunately, due to internet connectivity in our country, we had to reschedule it for today. So everyone okhona online can you come lisitshela ukuthi siyezwakala noma cha if we're audible or not so that we can commence the interview that we're having today. Njengoba likwazi ukubana today we are with yes, this is the time whereby we need to discuss what affects us as a continent because the continental trends have got an influence into our national politics as well. Yes, so besicela wonke umuntu okhona live azosho ukuthi siyezwakala noma njani. Yes, so siyacela everyone okhona. I can see there are quite a few people abakhona. Siyacela libuye lizokuza ukubana namhlanje seliphathelene. Yes, this is the time. Siyacela kakhulu. And when I'm doing my lives, I usually start with promoting Ibaobab. But it's unfortunate today I didn't get the time ukuthi ngithenge one of Ibaobab casket. So I'll still promote it loba ingekho. So anyone ongakayizami Ibaobab casket flavor, can you go try it out and libuye lama results lingitshela ukuthi kume njani feedback yeah abaningi they've come to my inbox and said no, that's a good flavor. So siyabonga kakhulu for those who have come back with the updates. Siyabonga. So keep on coming, keep on trying out the baobab new flavor because we want to promote the indigenous businesses, want to promote indigenous ideas. So who knew ukuthi one day umkomo will be bottled and it becomes a drink that we enjoy a lot. So ofunayo, they can go and try out that particular flavor, baobab flavor casket. And a lot of people lost hope in these other flavors. They were preferring not just a casket has brought a new flavor. It's now drinkable. So siyabonga kakhulu there. Siyabonga i-dairy report for that particular development ku product yabo. Siyabonga kakhulu. So yet to commence the interview. Greetings to you all once again as we start our live broadcast. The interview that was supposed to happen yesterday, and it's now today and at this particular hour. Yes, my name is Owen Mtolimoyo. I usually call myself my forefathers who is connecting yesterday's generation to today's generation so that we can charter forward a brighter future. So today I'm with Mr. Pugeni, the Honorable Senator. Mr. Pugen, you can introduce yourself to the viewers.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello one, hello all. Khaliphani Pugeni. You are seeing us live from Bulawayo, the city of King and Queens, the holy city. Yeah, I think so far.
Yeah,
that's enough.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. We're live and we're in Bulawayo. He called it the holy city, so that's where we are at. That's where we're sitting at today. So today, the topic that we want to dwell much on is the dynamics and the state of African politics. So, Mr. Pugense,
Yes.
yes, looking at the state of African politics, as it were, we're seeing a lot of corruption that is going on. What could be the cause and perhaps the effect of this phenomenon of corruption?
Yeah, I subscribe to the school of thought that says our system of governance is imposed.
Yes.
It's not indigenous to us. We are learning this thing.
Okay.
And if you're hearing me saying justifying, no. But I'm just saying it's imposed on us. The owners of this so-called democracy, they'll have safeguarding mechanisms.
Yes.
That the one who emerges is indeed the one who's wanted by the people. But that's not the case in Africa. Sometimes it's who has got enough muscles,
Okay.
and then it beats others physically, literally beats them to submission or scare them all from contesting, and then it becomes the leader. This is not exclusive to governing parties. This happens even in opposition, where the opposition leader is there on account of violence, on account of intimidation and insults. So, me being a family man, you can imagine if you start insulting me sometimes, including my family and my children, what do you think will happen? Yeah. So in most cases, family will then come in and say, no, the cost is just too much. We can't take this anymore. So as a result, the one that emerges is not the best amongst us. It's not the best amongst us. And when they get there, because you're not the one who put them there, it's these thugs and thuggery tactics that got in there. So you are then not surprised by what you get. Now, I said to you, this is not exclusive to governing parties.
Yes.
This is a phenomena and a body politics. So even those who are then supposed to hold the governing parties accountable are not able to, because they themselves are thugs with skeletons everywhere. So, and the governing elites, they know that this Pugen who's challenging me, he's got that skeleton, he's got that skeleton. So sometimes they just call you aside and they say, look, we have this information. And then so you find that those people just make noise on general issues, but they never tackle the real issue. So you've got countries like South Africa,
yes,
which tries to have systems that, when really implemented from an objective and fairly basis, that they can work. But we have seen that those law enforcement systems are extremely compromised. In the case of South Africa,
yes,
extremely compromised. They are factional. They go with whoever is in power at the moment. Botswana was promising, was a beacon of hope, but since the current leadership came in, Rema Sisi, we see the arrests of former president. The whole family is in exile now. I think the sister passed away recently, and they couldn't even come in to bury the sister. So all of this, I credit it to this imposed democracy system of governance, which we don't understand how it works. It assumes that decent people are going to emerge, and unfortunately in our case it's thugs that emerge.
Okay, so basically, if I'm getting you correctly, leadership is this: you're saying we are still perhaps toddlers in the system of a democracy, governing using democracy. So by that, we're still using perhaps the olden tactics. For example, as you're saying, the feet in terms of physique, not in terms of the mind and the brain, will win in terms of elections and whatnot. So how best can we then catalyze a way forward, or catalyze maturity within African nations to say, no, democracy must we must actually mature in terms of the democratic ethos and standards?
Yeah, you see, this thing is supposed to be in a curriculum.
Yes.
But it's not even there, and it's by design.
Yeah.
Because in the developed countries where we inherited this thing, the outcome of any election is always linked to the delivery. So if you are a governing party and you are not doing well in terms of the promises which you made in your manifesto,
yes,
So from by-elections to the next elections, you're going to do bad. So that's why there is a phrase that was coined by the former American president, Bill Clinton, is the economy stupid?
Yeah.
Because the economy is producing. People have bread and butter and they really don't worry much as far as governance is concerned. But it's only in Africa, in this country where we are, where a government can't fix a currency. You sit there and you ask yourself a question. From the time I was born and grow up and you hear this, you hear that, you think they will fix. I mean, man is being changed in the streets.
Yeah.
It's changed in the streets. You go to Botswana, right here, and cross-border banks, right?
Yes.
And those are Zimbabweans. We are trying to export that culture to other countries. But if you, not for whatever reason, because you can only use foreign currency in Botswana when you need it for your travel.
Yes.
If you're going to travel outside the country.
Yeah.
But inside there, they use the pula. There's no two questions about it. If you come with whatever currency you have, you must go to the bureau to change it to a local currency, and that's it. They wake up and they tell you that, by the way, this local currency, they didn't even call it a currency then, they called it a bond note.
Yes.
This bond note is equivalent to the same denominated US dollar. Yeah. And the US dollar is a reserve currency. And I tell you that this is equivalent. All right, okay. All right. Now I want to go to America itself. Yeah. Can I give you this thing which is equivalent to the dollar and then you give me the dollar? No. Yeah. Right now, everyone, or in the majority in this country except the elites, are earning in the local Zimton.
Yes, indeed.
Their salaries are not pegged using the American dollar, no. Their salaries are pegged on the Zimton. Yes. All the expenditure is pegged using the US dollar currency. Yes, indeed. After earning your salary, you can't go to any bank here and say, listen, please take my Zim dollars and give me US dollar so that I can then be able to survive. No, you can't. But when elections come, guess what? No one will be punished for that type of chaos. No one. The elections don't speak to that. So I'm substantiating my point that I'm saying the electorate is not taught about this democracy, how it works. No, they are not taught. So what they will do, they will go and vote for the very same people who are in charge now. And they will come to me, a senator who belongs to a party that really the vote means nothing. We can vote against the government until we're blue in our faces. Nothing changes because they've got what you call the super majority, the 2/3 majority. Yeah. They will all. So how do you change that? You first of all take away that majority. At least if you can't take away the majority, take away the super majority. Okay. By voting different for other people so that you can balance up this power. Yes. So the electorate is not helpful. It could be ignorance, especially for the folk in the rural areas. Yes. But the folk in the urban areas, frankly, it's declaration of duty and self-hate, because how do you not change your situation? Yeah. Because you are coming out of school soon. Yeah. You are not going to get a job. Yeah, that's the right chances. You are not going to get a job. Yeah. I have a young man that I'm assisting now. Yes. I've spoken to one of the officials there in Parliament to assist that he at least gets some internship. Yeah. He did his junior degree, passed it, yes. Couldn't get a job, did his master's degree, passed it, still can't get a job. Now he wants to enroll for a PhD. Without a job. So I said to him, no. There's no way you can go up to a doctoral level and you haven't even worked a single day in your life. This is not a young man who barely passes. He's doing very well. But this is where we are. And all of that will change when you go and say to them, but this is what you promised us in our manifesto. You promised us clean water. There's no clean water coming out of the taps. As a result, we are going to try someone. Maybe that one will bring out clean water. So that's how democracy is supposed to. That's why I'm saying this imposed system doesn't work for us. Yes. At least the king knew that these are my subjects. Yes. And he tried to make sure that maybe we just need to improve from there and try and put some checks and balances. Yeah, but if we don't educate the electorate on how this democracy works, it's just not working for us.
Yeah. Your point particularly reminds me of a scenario during the 2018 elections. There's the constituency that time it was Lower South. Lower South now is I believe it's the only constituency under the ruling party right now. It's only because the opposition, the main opposition at that particular moment, floated two candidates in the same constituency. Then you would then ask yourself, what is really going on within the opposition parties that we expect them to be the gatekeepers of this democracy that we want to uphold so much?
No, the opposition is short-sighted. Okay. Extremely short-sighted, self-serving, yes. Narrow interest. You would remember the opposition was fragmented not only into two, like you say. Yeah. There was a third opposition which came third in that election, which was part of this opposition which fragmented itself. So I'm talking of, there was the called MTC Alliance. Yes. Then there was another one called MTCT. Yes. Basically, this was one thing. So you had three candidates, of one thing competing against on a first past the post system. First past the post does not give you the luxury to have sprinter parties and a supermarket of candidates. Doesn't give you that luxury. Yeah, because you can have the person with the minority vote turn that to a majority. You see, so it was extremely unfortunate that they allowed a useless fight amongst themselves and overlooked the whole thing. Now, but there's a question you're not even raising. Yes. Or maybe you're raising silently without realizing that you have raised the question. Yeah. It speaks to the process of coming up with candidates.
Yes, indeed.
It speaks to the process. How did you come up with these candidates?
Because basically, we are expecting primary elections to determine who is going to contest.
Yeah, look, what you call primary may not be what you think it is. Yeah. For me, that is the biggest problem. Yeah. Where you find people using the majority in something that does not need the majority. Mm-hmm. If you are looking for a school teacher for your child, what do you want? You want someone who's going to be chosen by most people. No. That's exactly what is happening here. Yeah. So you go and have the majority. Yes. If you were to take the Hansard, Bulawayo has 12 constituency MPs, right? Yes. And then it's got 6 senators. Yes. So that's put it at what? At 18. Yes, yeah, right? That's 18. And then it's got 10 women folk. Yes. So who fall under the PR. Yeah. So that put it at what? At 28. Go and get the Hansard. That's a record of Parliament. Yeah. And just find out how many of us, I'm part of them by the way, how many of us have raised issues that affect you as the residents. Right? So, if citizens knew that, they could do that and say, give us your record. Yes. Right? And they say, no, but you were there, but you never represented us. So then, therefore, we can't just send you there so that you get a car, you get a house, you have a salary, you have an elevated status in society, and that's it. And what do we get? Nothing. You see? But when that time comes, that is not going to be considered. But even then, for me, it's late. Because if you're going to send me to Parliament, and I've never opened my mouth, just to stand up for anyone. I've never opened my mouth. What do you think is what? Yesterday I was at the Hillside police station. One of my folks had lost his documents. So we went to the taxis that he would have ridden, and they said they'll check, and then he said, let's go to the Hillside police station to find out maybe somebody picked them and dropped them there. So as we were driving out, there is some commotion there. The two cars that were jostling against each other. Then I hear that a woman was pushed out of a moving car. And then this other car almost drove over her. So I said to my driver, no, we can't go now. This concerns me. I'm a member of parliament for this constituency. Now, this issue now is my issue. So I said, I know we're in a hurry, but I'm sorry. I have to know what is happening here. And I must, this is the most important part, I must make sure that the police do something about this. Because we're now getting to a situation where I know it's a family issue, they must get into the car and go. No. So then I introduced myself. I'm Honorable Pugen. What I've heard here is serious. So make a follow-up and do your process. No, I didn't say tell them how to do it, but I simply say do your processes. Because I know that mine then is to raise the issue in Parliament with the Minister. If it doesn't turn out the way as is prescribed to their procedure. Because part of my job is to be a representative of the community. And that is what I was doing yesterday. Part of my job is to legislate, basically make laws. Angry about it. So, if you just pick anyone because they've got a nice face, or they dress nicely, or they've got nice perfume, or you enjoy drinking with them and whatever, you are going to deprive yourself of representation. And then you wake up and you say, Bulawayo is underdeveloped, there's this and this, hey, there's tribalism, hey, there's Kukraund. I'm not saying there's no tribalism. I'm not saying the Kukraund issues don't come into play. But if you have all those issues, you need your sharpshooters in Parliament. You don't need anyone because somehow they've been with the party for a long time, or they are friends with the president, or they come from the same. No, that's not what you need. You need people that can genuinely represent you. And trust me, what is happening here is nothing. When you're in Parliament, you are against the best of the best from other parties with their representing their interests. So you must forcefully put your interest. So I thought it's very important that I conscientize you around this whole primary thing issue. In America, which is where we normally copy these things from, it's a serious process. And it's not controlled by the party. Right? You come and you have a candidate, it's the voters that vote. I know of other MPs here that didn't even go through a primary. Because they are close to the leadership and the whole thing just gets manipulated and they are through.
You spoke about the electoral right. The greatest challenge that I've actually observed is that it's on a rare basis that the electorate will say no. They would actually request a manifesto of a political party, but they would rather vote on lines of charisma, on lines of perhaps just because a political party it's just a favorite party. The name sounds familiar, the name sounds interesting to you, but they don't really request to see what is the party ideology. They don't even know the party ideology. The parties that they are supporting, they are not aware of the ideologies of those political parties and how they stand to benefit from those political parties. So how best then can we, perhaps as the members of the media fraternity, conscientize and educate the electorate or the society or the community at large, because this also lies with who controls the information.
Yeah, very powerful point. Very powerful point. The danger which is there now is that you guys have almost abandoned your mandate, and are no longer the traditional media people that we knew. Media was about information sharing, which is educative here and there, maybe entertainment, but the critical stuff was we sharing information, very critical. Now, we have since agreed that democracy is an imposed system or inherited system from from the West.
Yeah.
So you now need to let our people know how it functions, and that's where the media plays a massive role on the issues which you have raised.
Yes.
So, because people are engaging in what they don't know.
Yeah.
Imagine, just to demonstrate this to you.
Yeah.
If I were to try and open up that thing,
yeah,
it will blow my brains off, because that's electricity. That's 240 volts.
Yes.
Right? But a guy who's trained for that will open all of that without a problem.
Yeah.
Because he would have switched off where he needs to switch off and know that he can use a screwdriver this size and all those things. I don't know that. So if I did that, it would blow my head off. So that's why you see this process, instead of benefiting our people, they're not benefiting out of it. Because somebody comes and say, Machida, 30 okay, Patai Moon. Then they buy them that Patai Moon, they get drunk, they go and vote their lives, because that's 5 years is a long time.
It's a long time.
I've seen people that I was with it in 2018 die. I've seen others do extremely well, and you see, so 5 years is a long time. Indeed. And it's thrown down the drain for a part-time moon. so you guys really have to up your sleeve.
Yeah.
Government really should have put this in the curriculum, but they haven't. So we must take advantage of social media and really use it to let people know that in democracy, it's the whole people working. By the way, in the very same West, and I must applaud them in South Africa as well. South Africa, they try, different from us, to really use their vote to reward or punish.
Yeah. They're trying.
Yeah, you do well, we reward you, we vote you again. You do. That's what they've been doing with the EFF.
Yes.
They've been rewarding the EFF, rewarding the EFF. Same thing with the DA in the Western Cape and even parts of Gauteng. They just reward, they reward, right?
Those parties are always in the National Assembly.
Then they punish the ANC, punish the ANC. Like, doesn't happen in this country. I stand up every day in Parliament and I fight. I remember one lady from the hotel there in Harare said, so you were serious when you saying you were going to Parliament to fight for it? Because eventually I would go to the room and type my speech and spend the whole day, sometimes days, just typing on how to go and present a certain point, and obviously then send it to her for printing and whatsoever. Then when I made the point and bring back feedback and I said, yeah. I said, why? It's like, no, because most guys are just here just to enjoy just the life and the status and. But I'm saying, even as I do that, I know very well that very few people are following. Very few people will reward that. So the whole thing can be disempowering by the very same citizens that you want to fight for. So the media is going to be critical to let our people know that you must be engaged.
Yeah.
You must be engaged. If you are not engaged, you're going to be exploited.
Indeed. Yeah. Maybe this one other aspect that perhaps I've realized about Africa in terms of the media. It's now sort of a game's numbers, because it's a game of numbers, right? Most media personnel, they are chasing the individual that has got numbers, but they are not concerned with the content and the quality of the content of the medulla of that particular person. They just want to focus on the numbers, but then they fail to be critical. I'm trying to express a point whereby we've got demagoguery politics, whereby there's a messiah There's a Messiah person that cannot be questioned. There's a Messiah person that cannot be critiqued. How best then can we actually empower the media to say no? Actually, it's not actually empowering the media, because if you, I just want to express a point whereby we are able to come up with a parallel media style that can be able to counter these media houses that are worshipping certain individuals because they are sort of messiah-like.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to bring when I said you guys have abandoned your mandate and they're now acting like business people. Because the whole reason why they are going for these ones with a large following, they are really chasing the bottom line. Because the more viewership, the more adverts, and the more US dollar.
Yes.
So they are basically not different from people who are selling their souls and their conviction for money. I must single out Sight by Zenzel and Debet. I really have to single them out.
Indeed.
You know, they don't chase the numbers. They can do a program and they'll do their best. They'll bring a camera, they'll bring their what do you call this, their lights and everything, and do a good production. You know, and really doesn't matter for the numbers. And you'll find that they are extremely informative.
Extremely.
And I can tell you, they may not seem to be appreciated now if we're using the matrix of numbers, of clicks.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, with time, that the word escapes me, but all that is really going to be gold. Their content, that's the word. That content is going to be gold because they are really out there to educate. So maybe people like you have to be a bit innovative. Have programs that appeal to the kids, but that are somehow teaching them the importance of getting involved, participation, and all those things. Now, if you are going to hero worship someone and be uncritical of them, you are shortchanging yourself. You are shortchanging yourself because they are not going to be able to perform. Performance, you don't speak it. You know, like the issues of faith. You see, the issues of faith, the issues of spirituality, they are faith-based. No, not in politics. You can't wish the sewer to just disappear. You can't just wish it away. You can't wish away load shedding. No. You can't wish away management of human resources. You can't wish that away. So you are going to need people who are extremely focused and dedicated into a public administration. And my fear is that as the opposition, we haven't done much thinking around those things. We are into what I call the politics of adulation. Who sings the president's name more? Who shouts praises of the president more? You know, who defends the president against warranted criticism? Because it's very, very important. You can't tell me that all these people are infallible. No, all human beings have their faults. So you critique him and try and show him that, look, there is a problem here. Something that we discussed about offline. Which of the opposition leaders ever opened up their finances to you?
No.
Right? Let's leave their personal finances. Which of them has opened up the finances of their organizations?
They remain a secret.
Right. Now, those finances are coming from you, by the way. The ones they seek support and everything for everyone. These ones who, in fact, all now, the opposition parties in parliament now, they all get this political funding, which is your tax dollars. They don't even tell you how they use it. They start puzzling out and giving to each other money, and all that money evaporates. And it's your money. And you can't even ask about it. You can't do anything. You are seemingly powerless. And those people are going to wake up in government.
Indeed.
And you think when they're in government, they're going to be transparent?
No, there are low chances. And again, as a young person, the points that you are making are points that are really spiking my heart so bad. So, how, like, when we're looking at the young persons, how best can we motivate, inspire them to get involved in these political transparency things and political literacy? Well, what type of political literacy programs can we introduce? Because again, looking at it, there's the old crop that doesn't want to believe Guti, we can be innovative enough. Sometimes in our workplaces we face situations whereby the email system, the Gmail system, it becomes hard for you to implement that at your workplace because someone still believes in sending a message from a certain organization to a certain organization to collect letters or whatnot. So they cannot implement those the email system. So how best can we manage that to say no, we must inspire the youth to cover up for this particular old and outdated method of dealing with things and administrative things and political understanding.
The word of God says, since the days of John the Baptist,
Yeah.
the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, men take it by force.
Yeah.
If something is that important, there's a level of aggression which is warranted.
Yeah.
I didn't say violence, I said the level of aggression.
Yeah.
You guys don't want this thing. That's my problem I have with you. You just don't want this thing. Now, if you have two critically ill people,
Yeah.
an old person and a child, you know who they will dedicate all their resources to? Do you know?
No.
It's the child.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and it's clear, because there is a future here, right?
Yeah.
I think it's your battery. It's going to run out now. Oh, okay. So, we are going to die. Okay, I'm still falling a bit in the youth, but really, we've had our time and we've messed up.
Yeah.
And you guys are now grown up and you're looking at us mess up your future.
Yeah.
It's you guys who are born into debt by our consumption.
Yeah.
We are consuming so that by the time you are born, you're in debt. And when a child is going to be born, it's going to be in debt to satisfy our consumption. You guys are allowing that. You're allowing that. And I see bright, sharp young minds being co-opted. Yeah. And then allow themselves to be co-opted. No, you guys need to organize yourself and ask yourself a question that how will this end?
Indeed.
Because the debt is ballooning. It's not going down.
Yeah.
It's ballooning. You are owing that debt.
Yeah.
Your children who are yet to be born are owing that debt. So it's a shame. I was driving around Matsau. All the beautiful homes you see in Matsau, and when I'm saying all, of course, I'm not being surgical. So the 95% or so.
Yeah.
It's people in the diaspora.
Indeed.
That's the only way you can afford to have a decent living. So people are basically being thrown out of their homeland.
Yes, indeed.
By conditions that we're expecting you to make up your minds as young people and say this far and no further. Yeah. By that, I'm not saying remove old people and put young people. No, I'm simply saying agree that not this one. This one, yes, not based on the content of and ability of the people. Yeah. Now, you choose well because clearly age has nothing to do with it. President Obama came very, very young, did extremely well. Yeah. Same thing with President Clinton, very young, did extremely well. Right now, we've got President Biden, very, very old, but doing extremely well. Yeah. But what is important, that's why I said the character of the person. It matters. You people are voting people you don't know. Simple because he belongs to this organization. You vote that person.
Indeed.
To go and represent. How is he going to do that?
It happens a lot.
So, young people, you are innovative enough. Find a way how you are going to talk. This alcohol, and somebody told me, I don't know, somebody said to me there is no longer public statutory crime called public drinking. I said, no, this is wrong. This is pandering to capital. Capital would want that, if it's true, would want that removed so that they can sell as much as possible.
Yeah.
That increases their bottom line. And I can tell you what alcohol does to the mind. It just alters the mind. It makes the things that are important less important. It makes the things that are less important extremely important.
Indeed. Yeah, then moving away from this particular issue again, I want us to go to South Africa. A situation whereby our brothers, whereby when a South African Lux, I don't know, I'm quite forgetting his name. So we are having Nhlanhla, the Operation Dudula. Our brothers and sisters, they are being murdered there. In terms of nation-to-nation relationships, how best can that situation be mended? Because we're also seeing on the right, on the other side, on the left side, we're having the EFFs trying to champion to say no, not to black hate, and let us stop that. So how best can that? And we're seeing again the ANC itself. It's tired of Zimbabwe, of Zimbabweans, of illegal immigrants there. So how best can these nations work hand in hand to probe change on the nations that are flooding them there?
No, first of all, the ANC is not tired of illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
This ANC of President Ramaphosa is not the ANC of President Mandela, President Oliver Tambo, President Mbeki, President Zuma. No, it's a different ANC.
It has changed.
It's a very Afrophobic ANC. It hates its own people. It thinks that it's different from other African brothers. It sees itself in a different way from others. Yeah. And it's involved in a race to the bottom. This type of politics, you don't do that when you're a governing party. You don't do that. You must understand that the situation of Zimbabwe is where it is thanks to the ANC. Successive ANC presidents and leadership have defended the current government. They have. The ANC, under President Ramaphosa, strengthened ties with what it called its sister party, ZANU-PF. So you can't claim to love me and hate Fana. No. There is no relationship there. So it cannot have these strong ties, the ANC with ZANU-PF, and have problems with the Zimbabweans. It's not undocumented. No. They just have problems with Zimbabweans, period. So that's an extremely unfortunate situation. I don't want to conflict the two and say, come home and vote or fix. No. The ANC, South African government, has got international obligations. Yeah. They've signed a lot of charters that have to do with human dignity and I'm not even going to refugees because they'll dispute and say it's not a refugee. No, let's talk about human dignity. Yeah. Yes, and they've really thrown away the rule book. And they've basically taken a posture that says Zimbabweans don't have human dignity. We'll treat them anyhow. Yeah. And we will allow our people to threaten their lives. They banned Elvis Nyati to death for not holding a passport. They banned him to death with impunity. We're not even moved a bit. And so when you see the calamities happening and you see more of the calamities visiting people, God is not happy. God is not pleased. Human life is sacred, and it must not be treated in the manner that the South African government is treating foreigners in that country, especially of the African descent. Of course, Harare, I'm done. I'm not conflicting the two. Yeah. But Harare need to preserve our dignity and pride. Really, They just have to preserve our dignity and pride and allow a situation where there is genuine dialogue between the political players.
Yeah.
Not this facade that we have now, where you take someone who can't attract any meaningful support and say I'm forming a pact with these people to sort out the crisis of Zimbabwe. This person can't even get his wife and kids to vote for him. Can't now. So we really need genuine conversations that are going to move this country forward. By the way, during the GNU era, you know that a lot of people came back home from the diaspora. A lot of people came back home. And that's what I mean when I'm saying they need to preserve our pride, man, and our security. And think deep on these matters. Whether they will do it or not, I don't know. But if they don't, there is 2018. And I'm happy that even in this bad situation where people are going to be kicked out of South Africa in December, I think they must come back home and make their statement clear and out. 300,000 people coming here. They changed the election. They changed the election. They completely changed the election. So if there's anything that must motivate those people, is to come and change the situation. Because if you go with the 2018 election, if you have 350 people, remember those are the documented ones. So the undocumented ones, this number can push us to 1 million. Come home and let's change this thing.
The figures, the statistics would fall.
Let's change this thing. Let's change this thing.
Indeed. It's quite interesting. Then we have a situation again in Africa whereby elections are being contested, and where someone loses the election, they'll complain, say, no, they were rigged, this and that. That particular, and now we're heading towards 2023 as Zimbabwe a nation, right? Yet on the ground, there hasn't been any effort made in terms of the electoral reforms themselves.
All right. That's another topic again where what you think it means, it doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
Because I think people are crying for reforms without even understanding what is the minimum reform which is needed.
Yeah.
First of all, the reform you needed is exactly this step which ZEC is taking now. They may have overimposed themselves maybe when it comes to the fees, but they're in the right direction. And I realize that every time I say this, people, maybe it's because English came by the ship. Some of us are third language. Maybe it's me who's failing to express.
Yeah.
When I'm saying they're in the right direction, it means where their focus is now. It's where the focus should be.
Okay.
Now, I was in the Bolilima East what one?
Yes.
Sometime this week. Just have an appreciation of what is happening in these elections. There were two parties. Two. There are 4 people that are registered there.
Right.
And the information I have is that the other 2 were personally sponsored by the ruling party.
Oh.
They gave them there, go and register. Right? But now, when it comes to election agents, they didn't have money to give them to generate what? Election agents. So only 2 parties have election agents. Of the 4 who are contesting.
Yes.
So it's the CCC and it's ZANU-PF.
Yes.
Right? So you are beginning to decongest the electoral process.
Indeed. Yeah.
You are beginning to decongest. Now, I was the very first one. I was interviewed by another platform. The very first one to say, look, I will agree for this exchange where you bring down the fees somewhat, but increase the number of the nominators. It was the very first one to say that. So that's why I said they're in the right direction. Because you don't want people who stand no realistic chance clogging the system. That's not democracy. That's not how it works in all the countries.
Yeah.
So this thing of Zimbabweans, they are basically really, they're making so much noise out of nothing,
Yeah.
if you ask me.
Yeah.
We needed to decongest that process. So
Yes.
what we need to do now is to say the nominators must be raised, right? Because this Pollard that everyone is crying about is as a result of these low fees and low requirements for anyone to become a candidate. Now, do you know what you get when you're in Pollard? You get a brand new twin cab, right? And if reports are to be believed, you also get a farm, right? This I know for sure.
Yeah.
You get a diplomatic passport. So all this mayhem you see in the border, you're not subjected to it, right? And many other benefits that I may not know. Of course, you get to spend time every now and then with the head of state, His Excellency.
Yeah.
Now, with these low entry points, how many candidates do you think you're going to have next year?
Above 21, indeed.
No, we will be in 2000s.
Yeah.
We will be in 2000s. Because if I'm going to pay 1,000 US dollars and get nominated, say, by a paltry 100 people, what is going to stop me from making such an investment? Look at the returns, which I told you.
Yeah.
No, if you live in this thing at such a, so almost buried on the ground, this pipe is this low.
Yeah.
I am a presidential candidate. Yes. Why should I not give me an opportunity
to contest this?
No, Pollard is not a small machinery. It's a massive machinery.
Indeed.
Pollard is known and recognized by SADC, known and recognized by AU, known and recognized by the United Nations. And to be a member, it's just a low bar. And then you come later, and then you cry. You say there are these small parties. They've been created by ZANU. They're blocking the system. They're making the electoral processes. You can't have your cake and eat it.
Yes.
No, you can't have your cake and eat it. You've got a choice. Either you eat your cake, and there's no cake to show people that I have a cake, or you keep the cake to show the people that you have a cake, but you don't get to enjoy. You see, now what we want to do, we want to have our cake and eat it at the same time. Now, this process needs to be decongested, right? Fumigate, you must have a realistic candidate, right? Those are the ones who are supposed to be there. And let me tell you this, by the way. I do different interviews with different platforms.
Yes, indeed.
Some post my number. I have never done an interview and solicited for money, personal money. I think I've solicited maybe money once or twice for people who are in distress. There was a blind lady studying at Solusi. I can't remember the other one. That's the only time. I've never solicited for money for myself. But I've gotten calls. And the receipts I have are for over $2,000. People just calling me, Senator, how are you? Where are you? We'd like to buy you lunch. Senator, where are you? No, you run around a lot. Here is what to run, So I can tell you now, if I woke up and I said I want to be a presidential candidate, that 20,000 is not going to come from my pocket. No. It's people who believe in my cause that are going to come up with that 20,000. So anyone who's crying about that 20,000 has got no followers. And this whole nonsense of saying poor people can't be represented, no, it's a lie. It's a lie. If you want to be an MP, you can't tell me that there are no 100 people who can give you here and there, few cents here and there. No. In fact, you don't need 100, you need 1,000. 1,000 people. If you want to be an MP, you've got 1,000 people. They give you $1 each. They have their men. They have their men. Indeed. So, no. It's in the right. If you want to make a trade-off, you bring down the fees a bit. I think we shouldn't be doing that anymore. Especially the presidential. The presidential, because of Pollard, just raise that thing.
No, not even because of Pollard.
For the quality of our democracy.
For the quality of our democracy and the quality of whoever must be representing the whole nation of Zimbabwe. Someone once said, if you look at the whole complexion of Africa, and they would say, no, we are picking individual presidents, And when we pick a president, we assume that it's your individual character. How would you feel?
Imagine this. I don't know if you saw this, the reports during COVID.
Yeah.
There was one of the Pollard principals who was kicked out of his rented one room because he could not pay $20.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
20 US dollars.
It didn't sink in. It did not sink in.
20 US dollars.
20 US dollars rented room. This guy wants to move from his one room to run our country.
Yeah.
Do you know this thing called skin in the game?
Yeah.
You know the concept of the skin in the game?
Yeah.
Is that free things are not valued.
Yeah.
You really have to have what we call skin in the game.
Yeah.
You want to move from one room, which you can't afford,
Yeah.
and go to State House and manage all of our resources. And this person is not going to be compromised. No, I am asking. This person is not going to be compromised.
It's already compromised.
So we have to, at the very least, take ourselves serious. You see, why South Africa is treating us the way they are treating us? It's because of our choices.
Yeah.
It's really because of our choices. Some of the things which you are fighting, which you are calling reforms, I don't understand what we're talking about. Yeah. This thing benefits these ones. I don't even know what they are crying about. I really have no idea. I try and think and say, are these people serious? In South Africa, 2014,
yes,
when EFF wanted to contest, they realized that they needed 500,000 to contest.
Yes.
And they went around, they looked around, because they were serious, they really wanted to.
Yes.
They managed to convince a businessman who deals in cigarettes. Yes. I think it's Masotti or something of that sort. Yeah. And he paid that money for them. And obviously, because they are so much invested in that, you can see what is happening with them. Yes. They are truly representing their people. Yes. And they are being rewarded by growth. Now, people come with their 10 other TGS, they run for these things, which mean nothing to them. And ZEC must now count 500 candidates. Okay, let's go to 2018. 20 candidates who were getting what? 3, 4, 0. And ZEC is encumbered with that. Yeah. In less than 24 hours, guess what? We want results. If we don't get those results, we're going to the streets. Yeah. So, in my constituency, there are 24 members of parliament. Right. 23 presidential candidates. We're at what now? That's 40. That's 47.
47, yes.
About 15 to 20 councillors. So that's 67, clocking in on 70. Yeah. Now that's not the end of it. Remember, all these people are supposed to have election of agents, were supposed to be part of the process. About 70, yeah? Yeah. The electoral ZEC people were supposed to be in there. Ballot boxes are supposed to be there. The police is supposed to be there. Observers are supposed to be where? There.
What a mess.
It doesn't end there. So remember, these people must campaign.
Yes.
So you go to your letterbox or underneath your door. Yeah. There are 70 flyers.
People are campaigning.
They're campaigning. There are 70 flyers. How are you going to choose and say, no, this one stands a realistic chance of the 7? So what people do is they take the whole 7 and throw it in a dustbin. Yeah. No, there are 70 flyers. Okay, let's go down to 60. Let's make it 50. Yeah. There are 50 flyers. How are you going to go through all of that?
Yeah, it's quite depressing.
So the whole process had lost credibility completely. In America, they look at your fundraising numbers. Yeah. How much have you fundraised? If you have failed to reach this threshold, you are not going to make it. Goodbye. Bye. You are not going to make it. Goodbye. I don't think when the Constitution said free and fair, they meant that you can have all the citizens, because we were 15 million. Let's just say 18 and above are 10 million. They meant that all 10 million people can apply to be presidents. No. It's unworkable. It's unreasonable.
Definitely not.
You make the law absurd.
Yeah.
You see, I heard in some quarters saying you can have a pamphlet of candidates. How is that possible?
No.
It was said you open John, you open Genesis. No, guys, come on. Let's take ourselves serious. let's take ourselves serious.
And then the question is, if there are 70, or let's say there are 21 presidential candidates, then the question is, when do people actually get the time to read 21 manifestos and
My friend,
understand all those political ideologies?
My friend, we're at 23, so I don't know why you're going to 21. We're at 23. If you keep this thing, and these are the days before Poland.
Yeah.
Now, Poland is a big factor.
Yeah.
Get it from me.
Yeah.
It's a big factor. You get to rub shoulders with the real people.
Yeah.
The people that are running this country, the people that are running this region,
Yeah.
the people that are running the continent,
Yeah.
the people that are running the world.
Yeah. It's because of Poland. This Poland thing is quite tricky.
The entry is that you participated
Only. Whether you got 2 votes,
that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Participation.
Some of those presidential candidates, even as constituency MPs, we got more votes than them. When they were running at nationwide.
As constituency
MPs. We got more votes than them. But they sit at that table and they're like,
yes,
I represent people. I was voted. And they have all the benefits that accrue to someone who got very impressive number. I'll use this case, someone like Dr. Kupe, compared to the peers around there, you know. But I'm basically saying, well, she managed to put people into parliament. Most of those guys couldn't even put a person in a ward. Dr. Kupe did put quite a number of people into wards, right? So that's what you're dealing with here. You have to confront that and really approach it soberly and serious, and understand that you are not the only country that does elections. All these countries in the world do elections. Don't take yourself serious if they must take you serious.
Indeed.
Yeah. Don't take yourself to be a joke. Look at what happened in Kenya. You know what I mean? Over 50-something million, or around about 50 million people. 4 candidates. And the other 2 were they were just a joke. It was only 2 candidates. That's why it went to 51%, I think 51-49, or just over 50% and 49. You know, so that's what we want. We want a system that is able to give an opportunity. Only people have a realistic chance of being elected. This is not a child's play. That's why not everyone is at university.
Indeed.
We are sending people to university who've got capacity to at least see through their studies. So you can manage. If we're just taking everyone, just go. The university will not be able to contain that.
Indeed.
The quality of the education will drop.
Indeed. So then our last closing, perhaps a subtopic will be organizations like the SADC and the African Union itself. Well, what benefit has it really impacted into Africa as a continent, those particular organizations, SADC and the African Union?
Nothing. Those are clubs of the ruling elites around the region and the continent. They are not serious. They're not taking themselves serious. The last time they did a vision, it's a vision, I think, what, 2063?
Yes, indeed.
Really? No. 2063.
You still be alive.
Do you know how many years it is from now? And this thing was not done now.
Yeah.
This thing was done quite a few years ago. Yeah. As of now, we're speaking, that's 41 years to come.
Yeah.
If God spares me, I'll be an old man, I think of 86, 87, when this vision comes alive. And I'm supposed to be inspired by this vision. So no, they are a joke. They are not taking themselves serious. That's why you see, if they were taking themselves serious, they would have done what the EU did.
Yeah.
You see, the EU has basic minimums for you to be a member. Right? Look at the economy, the legal infrastructure, the legal architect, social architect, So all those type of things, but this one, for you to be a member, you must be within the geographical area.
Done.
Yeah. So somebody gets threatened through guns and tanks and everything, and he resigns because there are tanks and guns everywhere, and he's under arrest, and you say, no, that's not a coup, he resigned. Well, look, it's okay.
It's
I think,
okay.
yeah,
There's nothing that.
yeah. So, but I'm trying to illustrate.
Yeah. It's a simple illustration,
Yes.
right? That has got if you're listening to it quite closely, one can really get the point, the gist of the point.
Yeah, but don't misunderstand me.
Yeah.
Of course, the current administration is by far, if you ask me, better than the previous one on many measures. And if you were to put a ballot with only the two, and you don't give me an option of anyone else, of only the two, I'll choose the current one any day.
Okay.
But I'm helping you understand why I'm saying they use all those people a joke. Who, they put rules which they don't mean, which are pliable, and you can bend them, and you don't even have to have the most well thought out excuse. You just wake up and say, no. Actually, what you all saw, which was playing itself out, everything that you saw, no, you actually didn't see that. Don't believe your lying eyes. Yeah. Well, what you saw is you just saw a man who woke up in the morning, decided he's tired, and is resigning.
See, you're seeing a magic trick. But there's some there's a development that we need to tackle. The development in Zambia.
Okay.
What do you make of his contribution since he became the president of Zambia?
I think it's a breath of fresh air. He has demystified public administration. He has made it look decent, admirable, and spiritual. Something we all. He has made it look like your father. If you're the father like my father, just an ordinary person who loves God, fears God, loves his family, loves his kids, cares. That's what he has done. I don't know, and I pray that it doesn't end up like what we are now seeing or what the people from Malawi are saying. I just pray it's not the same thing, because they are making a lot of accusations of nepotism, and that BBC interview didn't help as well. Where during COVID, someone just took all of his family people, somehow the government positions as if they are the Trump family, that dynasty, and all those things. So I just pray that there is nothing, and it's possible. Remember with President Obama, 8 years, no scandal. No scandal. So that's what I'm praying for His Excellency HH, that his 10 years may be scandal-free. Scandal-free. He carries on in this manner, and we really ought to pray for him. And that's the leadership we are hoping for in the continent. Now, I'm sorry to disappoint you. You don't have it in Zimbabwe. There's no one close to that guy. No. He's not a liar. He doesn't deceive people. People need to, you see, a lot of people know him now. You need to follow how he started that party. You see, how that party was started and the coalitions which he made. And he's an Adventist. But he made coalitions with the Catholic and they voted him. And he didn't say, I'm Adventist, and then therefore I'm not allowed. No, he went back, worshipped with them, went as far as the Vatican. You see, he's a decent man. Right? Now, you have to go around and ask people who've been promised and whatsoever. Unfortunately, Zimbabwean politicians are crooks. I said this in one platform. One person you can basically take his word in this country. Unfortunately, is His Excellency. And number two to me is Dr. Cooper. No, the rest, well, I don't know. We will see. Next year, we've got an election next year.
Yeah.
So I was making a point that that HH thing didn't just happen.
Yeah.
It's something, he was deliberate about it, that I'm a decent person. My word means something.
Yes.
You know, above other things, he's got a lot of attributes that are very, very important, that are key, that make up the man.
Yes, indeed.
So maybe my parting word is this. Pray for your leadership not to win. Pray for your leadership to be decent people. To be decent.
Only decent.
Just decent. Maybe let me add another one. Pray for them to be decent and kind. Four-lettered word. Very important word.
Yeah.
Kind. Be decent and kind. Very important. Don't worry about other things. Because if you get that right, God will put them on the throne. Yeah. You've got a decent person and a kind person. God will put that person on the throne.
Simple.
No, you won't need any tanks. No, God would put that person on the throne. But right now, this whole thing, thinking you're going to do trickery there, trickery here, but the things I spoke about to you earlier on, where public money comes for a certain thing and they are diverted, even in opposition parties, they are diverted and they don't do what they're supposed to do. Now, one thing that we almost didn't speak about, do you know the perverse abuse of power that is happening in these political parties, especially as far as women are concerned? Now, we have now at 30% in the councils reserved for women.
Yes.
Oh, the majority of those women are going to be forced to be involved in some sexual act to get that position. No. I don't want you to be numb to this. Women are going to be forced to be involved in some sexual activity with some power broker.
Just to get there.
Just to get there. Same thing with the PR positions and all those things. And if I had the magic one, I'll legislate, I'll put it in law, that women who are going to be appointed in positions of influence are going to be chosen by women. No men involved.
So, which means this 30% that was introduced.
Now, and you think God is going to be happy?
No.
God is not happy.
No.
Now, I don't have a problem with two consenting adults. No.
Yeah.
Where there are no power dynamics. You know, where we just look at each other and we think, well, he's tall, dark and handsome, and I think, oh, well, nice shape. No, I don't have a problem. Yeah. But where I have this power to put this person in a position, and then there is sexual relations there.
Sexually transmitted.
No. Women going into political positions, this must be legislated. I debated it last week in Parliament, and I put it like that, and I used Rwanda as an example. Yeah. The women in Parliament in Rwanda, the ones that go using a PR system, are chosen by women.
That's nice.
No perverts are involved there. Okay. And by perverts, it's I'm referencing men. Yeah. They are not involved there. You must be a fly in the hole when there's a vacancy for women in Parliament. The people who are making the strongest arguments are men.
Women are...
Well, of course, but I'm just saying it's men. And in most cases, it's sexual favors here and it's despicable. It's depressing.
It's a really sad scenario whereby one has to offer a certain favor to get a certain favor, while something doesn't require favor, but it only requires credibility and quality of leadership. It's very much said the state of African politics.
Yeah, but I wanted to raise the issue when I was telling you that I was making a difference between HH and the caliber you have here. Yeah. I'm not mentioning any particular leader. Yeah. It's a general observation, yes, what I've seen and listened to and whatsoever. I just pray that God may make our people decent and kind. Just decent and kind. That's the quickest way to the throne. whoever wants that state house.
Yeah.
The quickest way is not some trickery here, another one there, deceive here, do that. No, double dip, back end dealing. No, just be decent and kind.
Yeah.
God will pave your way. Just in closing,
Yeah.
you know the prophet Samuel went to Jesse.
Yes.
And he says, God sent me here
Yes.
to anoint a king.
Yes.
Right?
Amongst your sons.
I'm here to amongst your sons. Sure,
Yeah.
good. Then he calls the ones that he thought were suited to be kings.
Yes.
And
the first one was handsome.
Yes,
fit.
strong. And God said, no.
It's not the one.
Try that thing to number 10
times.
or so, whatever. Refused.
Yeah.
And the prophet says no, because he knows the word of God.
Yeah.
He says, no, man, I was sent here.
Yeah.
Are these all of your sons? He says, yeah, they are all. There is just one useless one, man. He's tendering sheep or goats or whatever. No, that boy, no. And the prophet says, go get him. We are not sitting down until he gets here. Yeah. And when he gets there, the oil just oozes out. Yeah. I'm appealing to those who want the throne. You're not going to get it by all of these useless things that you are doing. If anything, you are creating bad luck for yourself. Mm. You are sleeping with a woman because you've got power to put them there or not put them there. Doesn't get more evil than that. You see, in the way we say you tired. Yeah. So there is no violence which you can use to get into that throne. The state is extremely powerful. Very, very powerful. So you can't match them. They've got tanks, they've got AK-47, they've got everything. Yeah. The state is extremely powerful. Which is what Saul was against David.
Yes, his soul was.
He had this PA, he tried everything to kill him. Yeah. But God, because he's more powerful, he protected him. So anyone who really wants to get there, if you want to fight, if you want to use your flesh, you want to use your might, your strength, God is just going to stand aside and let all these people fight each other. Yeah. But if there is a decent man, a kind person who fears God, God will pave the way and they'll be there. And that's my impression of HH, of His Excellency actually. That's my impression of him. He's a spiritual man. He's a God-fearing man, a very kind man, you know, a decent man. And that's what I'm hoping for. But like I'm telling you, in this country, if you put the politicians there, unfortunately, the one that you want to remove, with my metrics that I use, he is the one that, at least if he tells you something or says something, you can basically depend on that word. Mm-hmm. The rest, they are yet to attain to that level.
Okay. I think we have really, Sister Ile, we've really had a good conversation, informative. I hope the viewers also benefited from this particular conversation. I love the Honorable Senator Khaliphani Pugen. Give your parting words, your last words, motivational words to the viewers and to Africa as a whole.
Thank you so much. My parting words will be, please go and donate blood. If you're in Zimbabwe, the majority of maternal deaths are caused by lack of blood. So I was in another interview, another platform, and there was a doctor there, and she said their stores have been depleted because of COVID. They used to get a lot of blood from the students, and once the schools and universities closed, their blood depleted. So please go and donate blood. I will presume it's the same around the continent as well. Just go and give a pint. You lose nothing really. Let's go and donate blood and save lives. Thank you so much. How long was it?
Siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you for tuning in. I can see a few people just came in. Siyabonga. Yes, true. That's alcohol. Yeah, it seems people really agreed to the point of alcohol. Yes, Siyabonga. To look at the US or senators, you have to have a budget, a huge support presence and presence and support ukuze ube ngupresident ukuze uconteste. Siyabonga laphana sesikarabo kamoyo, yabonga laphana nonkomosi Tonga, siyabonga laphana omshengo odilika mangunamahla amaswazi amahle. Siyabonga for tuning in. We are signing out. Sekobulawayo kontuthu ziyabokoza, though ama-industries angikhona zingasathunqi kodwa kuyothwana kuyohlala kuyigama nje. Hayi, siyabonga kakhulu. Signing out. Next time.